Let's go. What is going on, everybody? We are back in the PTU, and we finally have experience missions on the whole sea. So we're gonna go really put the load on this thing and see how it performs. It's done really well with, you know, rookie, junior, member. But let's see if it can handle its own size loads. The big boys. Oh. We are going to have to do our run around and probably grab the Erebus quantum drive, because that comma is mighty slow. And these will be the cross-system interstellar missions and all. Like Magnus at Terra and Pyro Gateways. Fingers crossed. Not 100% sure if it is hitting live today or tomorrow. A lot of us are suspecting tonight around midnight. Oh, yeah. Hopping into the live stream in case Captain Tues or Talius hop in. Let's double check. Stacked a couple of 8 contract missions in the Caterpillar yesterday and got my, my rank jumped up from like the 2/3 mark all the way up to here. That was pretty good.
Welcome to the ASOC Vehicle Retrieval System.
What's up, Frisk? Yeah, I believe CIG likes releasing things on Thursdays so they can use Friday to fix anything that pops up before the weekend hits. Yeah, smart strategy. I am expecting the initial drop to be rough, as always, with some quick hot fixes on its heels.
Please visit us again. Goodbye.
Let's see. I'm ready for it, man. I wanna put this thing to work and live. Let's go. I'm gonna go Dusk. I'm actually really liking Dusk. Trailblazer's dope, but Dusk is awesome. Oh, he's still having Erebus quantum drive. Chris Roberts smiles upon us today. It didn't eat this one. Impressive. Okay. That is wicked. So now we don't have to worry about going to Arc L1 to grab one. We can just get right into it. Really curious. I started messing with these last night, but I was plagued with so many server errors, and then finally the account timeout before they were bringing up the new patch. So it's hard to tell if the failure or the issues I was having loading was due to really, really crappy server PTUs. Sorry, PTU servers, or if it was just actually bad. So we'll see. Hopefully the Maggie C doesn't make me eat my words about how good she's been doing, because it'd be kind of useless if she was really great at running contracts for the lower ranks. That didn't really matter. This is where it counts. This is where it's actually important. This is the whole reason everybody wants to use the whole sea. And I believe Everest is actually one of the main points for the big missions. What's up, Happy Camper? This channel is blowing up crazy. Still can't believe it. Keep up the grind. I will do my best, man. I enjoy this, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it with me. So it's fun. Being up this early also helps me just maximize my day. I gotta stay motivated, man, because taking on 2 channels now, trying to keep Cyberlift pumping out content while making content for Star Citizen. This content can take a while to get and edit and upload if I get a little too ahead of myself. But I really enjoy it. So, I mean, depending on how things go by the end of the month, if this channel ends up monetizing, you know, they might be enough to just cover my my expenses. And then I can just focus on going out for Uber and Lyft purely for Cyberlift content rather than making that my grind. We'll see, dude. I love it. I'm going to keep at it. And I really appreciate all the early support. It's been incredibly helpful to get this thing moving. I've always kind of noticed that this elevator just looks like it's missing detail. I don't know if it's just the lighting or what. Let's see when we come up here. Okay, no, yeah, it's just... that matte black looks like it just isn't there when it's down. Looks really good up here, though. Oh, wait. Getting ahead of myself with my little med pen. I need to go and throw on a suit. I got way too excited. Because there's a chance we might need to get out there with our tractor rifle. What's up, Mitchell? How's the whole season going? So we're about to find out, man. It did really, really good with the 11 contract challenge and running around junior, rookie, and member missions. Running back to put on some proper armor and a tractor rifle, but we'll see how it handles the big missions. That's what we're doing this morning. We got experienced rank. I grinded out yesterday in the Caterpillar. Member rank, I'm probably going to make a video on it. There was only like 1 member mission that you could fly around like the whole sea. The rest all need to be taking advantage of stacking, you know, station to planetary missions. And I think I've got the best way to grind through it because some people have talked about there being a hefty grind through member to get to experienced. You could probably do like 4 of my 8 contract stacks, which is, you know, maybe about 4 hours of gameplay and run through it. Maybe even with just 3. I'm not 100% sure. But I was averaging about an hour and 20 minutes because one of the runs took me an hour and 30, and the other run that I ran a little bit more focused took me about an hour and 11 minutes. That was for about, I want to say 800 or 750 or so thousand in AUEC, 8 contracts worth of experience. And just to show you guys again, we went from about right here on member. With one of the stacks, it got me pretty much right up here to the edge. And then the second stack of 8 got me all the way through here on experienced. So I'm going to probably clip up and do a voiceover video on what I'm doing in that video to show you guys how to grind through member, because member is a little tough. Alright, now we're ready to go. And we kind of matched the interior of the whole sea, at least the cargo side of it. Yeah, I've heard about the efficiency of 2 whole seas. I don't know if you're possibly talking about the claiming strategy. I definitely can understand why people would go that route if it works, if it's not a pain. But I don't know, the claiming boat thing isn't really my style. But if it works for you, it works for you. Unless there's another strategy you're thinking about. Yeah. See that? I used to do that kind of thing when I was you know, doing salvage, and I would take my Vulture out to like a Starfare or something, and then I would suck vacuum and then go grab my Caterpillar and park my Caterpillar behind my Vulture and just like transfer all of the RMC to the cat right there from the salvage I was doing. But it felt kind of cheesy, you know. I was kind of gaming the system by literally just killing myself to do that. I like a little bit more immersion than that personally, because I'm not really trying to min-max and make all the money in, you know, yesterday. But again, yeah, if that's how somebody wants to play, that's how somebody wants to play. That is all you. It definitely works in a technical sense, you know. Alright. Here we go. Full speed ahead. Let's get that landing gear up. Get this girl working. I wonder how long I'll have to do this to be like the streamer / content creator that's got the most time behind the whole sea. What's up, Daniel? Caught you live. Come across your channel in my feed. I don't know how you haven't blown up yet, but damn, I really appreciate that, man. I will continue to do my best. To me, it's already blowing up in a pretty big way. I mean, YouTube's a pretty big monster to get through, especially in the initial growth phase, like getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark. I mean, the views on the channel, especially around the Hull C and the Caterpillar and the hauling stuff, made me really excited because I like the industrial side of gameplay. So to see the traction there is dope. The good thing you got going for you right now is you don't have a malpractice medic chasing you around trying to overdose you. Yes. There will be a funny video coming to the channel soon of Frisk and Tues and I's adventures in our Caterpillar when we were doing some VHRTs. And let's just say there'll be some fun in there, man. You're gonna have some fun, especially with the end, maybe a little blooper reel. That was a good time. I used to have 5 C2s for this reason, 400k profit per run. My goal was cash so I could fly all the ships. Now that I've done that and Chris took my money, I don't do it. That's great. Oh man, I can relate to that. Your niche is time slot and Hull C. You're the only streamer mid-morning EU time. Oh hey, cool. There's a little hack. Thanks, Mitchell. Sweet. Good to know that. Wicked. Yeah, I don't know if I'll stick to Tuesdays and Thursdays or if I might switch to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It really depends. Balancing my personal health and making sure that I get to bed on time is kind of the biggest key. Because like I feel good now. Went to bed early enough that I don't feel completely drained. But you know, sometimes I don't end up crashing out till like 11, and then I hate my life trying to get up at like 2:45 to get ready for the stream. But I enjoy this. I like getting up this early. Yeah, once you hit the 1K mark, they'll push you hard for a bit. Yeah, I went through that when my Cyberlive channel monetized. It hit like one of my videos, sorry, got like 60,000 views overnight. Blew the hell up, and I went crazy. That became a bit of a grind. But then unfortunately, with just life over the last couple of years, I wasn't able to get that channel consistent focus, so I'm hoping I can bypass that with this one. Alright, as we're approaching in real quick, let's go ahead and try to grab one of these big experience contracts. At least they're in quantum drives. I can hop into the chats a bit more efficiently. Alright, let's use the scroll wheel trick to get through here a little bit gentler, which I love. It's not only good for tractor beaming, but it's really good for going through 150 contracts. Alright, come on. Where's our big ones at? I think they were at the bottom last time. What? Oh, there they are. They're hiding. What do we got? We got Terra. There should be another. Alright, damn it. Of course this would happen. We're getting close to the station. Let me go ahead and hit the parking brake, so to speak. There should be like an Everest to Magnus mission. Do they move around how these are organized? The 247k direct solars, I think, are the ones that'll go like station to station, which we can also try for, yeah, about 1300 SU right there. But I'd like to hit one of the real big ones. Let's just jump into this. Yeah, there we go. 4,290 SU from Everest to Magnus. Let's get it. Double tap. There it is. Yeah, that is the method, man. If you guys are wondering where the box isn't coming up, bind request cargo loading to your keyboard or sticks and just double tap it. Sometimes you have to hit it 3 or 4 times, but the box has always come up for me, which is nice. Alright, man, why am I nervous? Why am I nervous right now? I've been doing so good. I'm just like, please work. These are the important missions. Well, getting ahead of myself. Let's slow down a little faster. There we go. Yeah, it's another thing that I've learned. I'm going to definitely put out like a bit of a tips and tricks video for the Hull C, just the things that I've noticed. Like if you're coming a little too fast, you know, lateral strafing is not going to do what it needs to do. So you roll and strafe up, and it has a lot more control. Like your lateral compared to your up and down is massively different. All right, there we go. We're stopped. Are we going to load? We're in, right? Oh yeah, we're in. Is that a random Gladius in my... What the hell? There's like Gladius in my cargo grid. That better not cause any... Oh, no, there we go. She's loading. Nobody move. Oh, shit. All right. Let me look at the chat while we're in here. From, oh, what's up, Smeg? Actually, caught you live. Crazy. I've seen tons of your videos before, but this is the first time I've caught you live. Yeah, man, every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 to 5 a.m., because I'm a psycho. It's good to have you here. I'm actually trucking around in my whole seat right now, doing some space trucking. Love it, Smeg. Are you in live, or are you running around in the PTU as well? Because live is rough right now with 402. And Daniel, thinking for 4.1 tomorrow, pretty confident. Possibly. I'm of the mind, as well as a few others, that probably tonight. That way they've got tomorrow to do any hot fixes they need before the weekend, because usually the initial drop of a patch is a bit rough around the edges. Just saw you YouTube live, but figured I'd come over here and say, hey, I'm actually flying around. Oh, hey, I see what happened. Smeg, you went from YouTube to Twitch. Oh, that's awesome. 690k at first to Pyro. Yep, that's what we're loading up now, and she's filling up, and I'm just not touching anything because I don't want to look at her the wrong way and make the Maggie C mad, and then she stops loading. This is looking good, though. Once that grid comes back, I know we should be basically done. I see all the splines filling up, which, oh, man, it feels good to see this thing filling up. Oh, that's exciting. They really need a way to filter contracts. Yep, that's going to be the biggest thing I think most of us really want, is that filter. Okay, it says we're complete. We got our blue box back. She's looking mighty full. Let's go. All right, we're going to very slowly boost out of here. This is where it's going to be very important not to collide with one of these purple drones, as seen on TV. Let's set into Magnus, and then I'll hop back in this chat with all you wonderful people. Let's see. Oh, come on, baby. We are full stick tilt right now. She does not want to roll. She is slow. Oh, overcompensation. Man, I've been running around with so many light loads that I'm going to have to reacquaint myself with her fully loaded like this. Don't want to provide too much input. There we go. Let's drop it down a little. The hell, Magnus? Why aren't you... Did you not work properly? Of course you didn't. It's gonna make me... Oh, there we go. Just had to give it a second time. It's teasing me. And we're off. How's that for a sight, my friends? Loaded up on that hydrogen. Got a couple of thumbnail options here. Alright, let's see what's going on. Yeah, but again, filters definitely. What I do like, when you're running around the whole sea, just don't pull up your missions when you're like next to a planet, unless you're initially starting like we here with Everest. But when you're like in quantum like this, I'll show you, it's a lot easier to navigate because your mission count is drastically reduced from 150 down to 50. 50 is still annoying, but it's going to be everything that's like interstellar and stuff, which is cool. So you can actually scroll through decently here and kind of plan out the rest of your routes and such. I'm not going to stack yet until we've got like 1 or 2 of these missions done, and then I'll start to run a bit of a route or a train on these. See if we can try to link Magnus, Terra, Everest, and Pyro. Those seem to be kind of the 4 points to get like an actual trade route going, or hauling route, I should say. But this initial test is just to see that all 4,290 SKU come off the boat. That's what I want to see. Biggest engines are the main ones at the back. Next biggest are the ones at the bottom of the ship. So this, those slow you the fastest. Yep. That's actually a good point. I've never actually taken a look at the ventral thrusters. There's quite a few big thrusters at the front of the ship, but not big enough to do anything meaningful with that load. So we are going to do this expanse style as we're coming in. We're not going to come in too fast because even turning and burning is going to take a minute with those 6 massive aft engines. But we'll probably get up to, I don't know, about 300 meters a second or so. And we'll immediately rotate and get ready for turn and burn. I'm just going to make sure we're actually a good ways kind of off the station. That way no drones or turrets get in the way. And we're going to keep our eyes open for asteroids that like to randomly pop in and ruin your time. if we're going slow enough, you know, there's a chance that if an asteroid randomly pops up in front of us, we might be able to dodge it. But yeah, fast movements in this are not advised because they will come back to bite you in the rear. I can't wait to not load cargo again. Yeah, I enjoy cargo loading, but in moments like this with this much cargo, and if you think about like we've had this conversation on the Discord a few times, that when you're thinking about like semi-truck drivers and stuff that are making their deliveries at Amazon or Walmart or, you know, pick your chain, the driver's not the one loading and offloading everything. You know, it's the depot center, the distribution center, and the store that take care of that part, which makes a lot of sense here. Yo, Pete, good to see you back. And Miles, good to see you in the chat. Good to see the content inspired me to grab a whole C in game and try more hauling. Yeah, I hope it's gonna work as well as it is here. This is the first contract and we haven't dropped it off with this big of a load. But I've been really excited, been doing a lot of testing in it, and I'm pretty dedicated to following the progress of this ship as well as other haulers in game. I want to get into mining and stuff too, but yeah, this whole C has been something I've wanted for a very long time. And it's been a little sad that it's been so shaky. We'll put it friendly, I guess, or put it lightly. Or we can just be blunt and say, yeah, it sucked. I think 318 was the patch. It was good. 401 and 402, I would get maybe 2 contracts in before it would mess up. Oh yeah, tonight for you, tomorrow for me. Oh, fair point. Yeah, I forget. I'm in the U.S. and Florida, East Coast time, so there are parts of the planet where it'll be Friday when you're getting it versus me getting it here Thursday night. She's a big girl when she's loaded up. Trust me, I have 4,584 SKU food of Magnus, so I'm feeling that inertia. Yeah, I actually really like that they did that. I like that there is the feeling of that added mass. Because it'd be kind of cheesy to be able to move this thing around like it's got nothing on it. Oop, there's our spool down. We are starting to decelerate. Also, seriously, thanks for the tip about getting out of the chair and getting back in the chair. Caught that one of your videos a while back, and it's a lifesaver. Hell, yeah, you got to thank my buddy Captain Kuza for that one. It was so funny because he showed me it actually in real time because I had his stream up on Discord, and we were both in his M2. And out of nowhere, I noticed my stuff wasn't moving. Like, I was stationary in the yellow belt, and I was watching him still flying and moving around. And I was like, what the hell? So he hopped out of his pilot seat, and my game like rubber banded and caught up, and then we were both moving again. It was the weirdest thing. So that is part of my process, you know, part of my troubleshooting, so to speak. Oh, I like that we popped out here kind of where the cargo is. So we're gonna angle ourselves out here a bit. I always like popping a scan to kind of see what might be in front of us. All right, we're gonna, yeah, that vertical strafe is great. So this is lateral, guys, just to give you an example. Left and right, and then this is up and down. Lot more input. So if you got to make a correction while turning, well, rolling is really difficult when you're this full. This is me at full roll. When you've got this much inertia, it is not really gonna help you much. And of course, you can boost to very slightly speed that up. What we're gonna do is boost to, let's say, about 50%. Now we're gonna go turn and burn. She pitches pretty well, but that inertia will start to keep you moving, so you want to sort of feel out where you might need to start letting off of the stick as you're coming back around. Back around. There we go. That feels like a good compensation. Nothing behind us. Line her up. And we'll wait a second before we start boosting out. 240 or so meters per second. Everyone got their juice? If you've seen Expanse, you know what I'm saying. Alright, let's go. It's awesome to be able to actually use this maneuver because you sort of need to. Alright, we're approaching 100 meters a second. Once we get down to about 50, we will stop. Yep, everyone sit, prepare for flip and burn. That was, oh man. That scene with the Canterbury is one of the dopest things, man. Alright. Yeah, when I blew up against the drone, I think in that stream, I said, remember the Maggie C. Oh, it was so bad. That was pretty good, though. Sweet. Put us up kind of right here next to it. And get that thrust vector indicator down where I want it. definitely requires some trucker patience when you're carrying a full load of this thing. We'll see how these forward retro thrusters handle us at about 60 meters a second. Man, the roll is rough. The input lag from the inertia is insane, but I dig it. Daniel saying, I love the heft of the whole seat. Wish other ships were more reactive with weight. Yeah, I agree. Actually, that's a good point. I wonder if they only coded that for the whole sea, because I know when I have the Caterpillar fully loaded, it doesn't feel any different. I don't know if you guys have experienced anything like that in your other hauling ships, but I think the whole sea might be the only one. Does the whole A? I know it doesn't get a whole lot of cargo, but it'd be really cool if there was like a little bit of difference between like a full 64 SKU count and empty. Alright, we're coming in. Gosh, I hope this works. Been running so many back-to-back contracts, and I'm just like, please, please, please. So I'm doing a decel and downward strafe to bring us to a comfortable speed. Very manageable. So I could probably come in a little bit hotter next time. All right, we're going to engage our park and brake. Oh, it's happening. It's happening, my friends. That cargo is dumping. Oh, that's exciting. I think we just feel it most in the whole sea. It's 100% in the C2 in the mole, though. Yeah, I'm going to have to pay a lot more attention to that, Mitchell. You know, it wasn't until the whole sea that I even had my mind on that page or whatever. Sorry, waking up, so words are hard. But yeah, I guess when you're thinking about just the sheer mass, the difference between, you know, 90 SU of raw material or 600 SU versus, you know, 5 to 6, 7 times that on the whole sea. That's a really big difference. It would make more sense that they would have that mass equation factored into the game with the other ships as well. Yep, I've definitely seen that. I don't know how long that's going to last, because you can also do it to the Prospector and get the Prospector up to like 80 or 90 or whatever. So it's kind of like the suck and vacuum to get back to your ship thing for me. I definitely like power to you if it's what you want to do. I know that that's likely going to get patched out, so I'm not wanting to play like that and get used to it and rely on it and then be like, oh no, we can't do it anymore. I think that it is dope that you can actually just put the Argo bags on the mole. It'd be cool if you could, like, through some form of like engineering gameplay, add more capacity in the future too. Or maybe even a way to put like the Drake bags on the mole, which do seem to be beefier, because it's one of those Drake bags on the Golem is 16 versus 8 or so, I think, on the Argo. It's hard to say. Alright, so we're getting some pauses, which is making me worry. We're at 3,100. They might leave it for a little while, but it was definitely not intended to be played that way, because you're essentially stacking bags on top of bags. Somebody made a good analogy the other day. It's like, would you expect him to let you stack heavy armor on top of heavy armor and keep playing like that? You know, getting the double defense and all that. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I miss being able to put the mole bags onto the Prospector and have it save them. Yeah, that's true. You do still have to do the mining, just makes it more efficient. Yeah, but they might just give us better bags. Now, that's what I hope for, honestly. I do think the Prospector and the mole deserve a higher cargo count. I would love for there to be like higher tier bags that you can buy that have more ability to store stuff. That'd be sick. 100% agree with that. I think that maybe this little trick people are doing will actually help them figure out that they need to get improved bags. I know I'm trying, Daniel, I see it. I'm like trying not to get too excited because we're climbing up. We're so close to this being completed. Oh boy, that just happened. Objective complete. And look how light we are. We're turning out of here like a freaking drag racer. Boom! Full contract success. Alright, let's get into another. I don't know. Actually, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Please visit again.
Well, we were technically still coupled, so we would slow down anyway, which is cool. I just mostly want to make sure we don't get impounded, so getting away from the cargo area enough. And then we'll slow down here to, you know, 5 or 10 meters a second, which is fine. Let's see. I know there's like Terra to Everest and Terra to Pyro. Let's see if we got anything from Magnus. Just to kind of keep a loop going. Wait, what's that one? Seraphim to Port Tressler. Let's go down to our big ones. Also, do a little rep check. A little chunk. I think that was, what, about that much? Yeah. Decent bit. That's going to make you go through experience pretty fast. 4K SKU done. Yep. There are contracts between all three of the gateways in Stanton, I think. Yeah, man, that's actually what I'm looking for. So, not mercenary. This is the nice thing, too, about doing these contracts away from a planet, is we have a lot fewer to go through. So, we do have Everest to Magnus again. Rookie Everest to Pyro. Seraphim. Let's see. Let's just look for one that says Magnus real quick and see which one it might be. Hopefully it's this one. Nope, that's Terra back to Magnus. Oh, yeah, that's the processed food one. I always had so much issue with that one. Definitely did that one, too. Magnus to Terra. Hey! There we go. That gets us from Magnus to Terra, and then we can do Terra to Magnus. Can you give us a quick verbal rundown of what to do and what not to do with the whole sea? I'd love to know prior to playing this on live when it's out. And hey, that's the one I just did. Yo, what's up, Alex? So yeah, let me go ahead and set in our course here. I like to do it this way too. Our collect. Oh, actually, we gotta collect before we get moving. What am I thinking? So this is gonna be a much lighter load, but it's just gonna get us over to Terra to make use of that jump rather than us just going there empty. I kind of think about that as a hauler. Like anywhere I'm going, I want to be carrying some sort of load, so it's worth my time. But yeah, I definitely, Daniel, I'm gonna run. I'll give you a rundown once we get this loaded and as we're going through. I actually took notes for a tips and tricks video I'm gonna make shortly after live goes live, and I'm gonna try to provide examples of all those things that I've encountered, which a lot of you might have already known. But if I can help like people who are just getting into the whole sea, or even bring some information to people that have been using it that didn't try something, that'd be sick. Let me just see if we're gonna get this cargo. About 600 SCU from Terra, or from Magnus to Terra. Might have to give her a little vertical wiggle. I've come to find out that I seem to have better luck with a vertical wiggle when you need to register as stopped than a forward and backward. So there's one tip. Let me go ahead and put in our navigation. Terra. Yeah, this is the longer jump too. Now it says cargo transfer complete, and that looks like a hefty load. I think we're good. I've also liked that the contracts have been able to basically load us up without it saying complete and it still be loading after the fact, but that is something to look out for in live that might need some attention. Be sure, typically your big cargo box will come back when you're actually loaded up and done and ready to depart. If it's still like transparent and loading, give it a minute. But yeah, here, let me run through this before I get back in the chat real quick. I'll just run you through the notes I've taken that I'm gonna end up putting in that video or making examples of, because I haven't been in the whole sea for too long, but I think I've been flying it long enough to learn a few things. So here we go. General tips around bed logging and ship state. If you have cargo like this, and you, for whatever reason, need to leave your server to try to resync it like we do with like bounties and such, don't do it. Because what happens, one of the only physical issues with the whole sea itself is when you bed log and log back in, or Alt F4 and log back in, or any reason you get kicked out and you put back in, it puts you in a closed ship state. And you can't open. And there is a chance that you can go to your dock and actually dock, store the ship, and call it back out, and it'll have its cargo. But a lot of the time for me, and I'll actually have some footage of this because I caught it on video. Hopefully I kept it. Really hope I kept it. But when it docked, it glitched to where the engines like split. So there was like a ghost version of the splines and engines on top of the others. And then the ship blew up. Or I tried to leave, and then it went into the station and blew up. So ship state after you bedlog or leave the game, if you have cargo or Alt F4ing, breaks badly. So you want to make sure you get rid of all of your cargo that's on board, even if it's bugged. It might be annoying, but it'll save you the trouble of claiming your ship and waiting 15 minutes. Get the cargo off, close your ship, then bedlog or Alt F4. Don't do it with your splines open. I'll run through the rest of these real quick. Make sure you actually go into your options and you assign this button to your keyboard or mouse or sticks. Where I think it's under flight movement. You're gonna scroll down under flight movement. It'll be because you have request landing and request cargo loading. It's I think it's default. It is right Alt N. I have it bound to my sticks, and that's what I've had to double or triple tap to get the box to spawn. But it's never failed to spawn in this patch. A single touch might not work. Calling it through the MFDs might not work. But double tapping or triple tapping it on my stick has worked every time. For control tips, vertical strafe is better than lateral strafe. Watch your speed, turn and burn timing, and clearance is going to be very useful. Mission tips. I suspect that dual pickup and drop missions are what's causing an issue with the stations eating the cargo or it not completing properly. So like where you have to go to Tressler and Seraphim to pick up and then go drop off at Everest. You don't really do that with whole C grade missions. That was mostly what I was encountering with the junior and member stuff that I was playtesting the whole C with. So the double pickup and drop off stuff was the only thing causing a problem. I would run through 9, 10, 11 contracts fine if I was just stacked, because you could stack. I had like 5 missions worth of cargo on the whole sea, but they were single pickup and drop off missions. They weren't the ones where you picked up and dropped 2 different areas. Selecting contracts during quantum will make it a reduced list, which is really great. That's what we were actually just talking about. For travel tips, being aware of pirates as the whole sea becomes more useful, pirates are going to become more interested in what whole sea pilots are doing. So you're going to want to focus on something called doglegging when you're going point to point. And basically what that means is you're not going to want to take the quick short path like we're doing here. Quantum snares and quantum dampening have about a 20 or 15 to 20 kilometer radius, I believe. So like going from Magnus to Dogleg, you would want to set course for another station and then cut quantum and then set course for your main station. You don't have to fully jump to the station you're going to. In fact, cutting in between is even better because there's no way somebody's going to get to you. So anywhere you're going, you dogleg it by creating a bend in your travel route. And you will never have somebody interdict you because there's no way they would. The distances we're dealing with are too great. So if you especially like let yourself go, maybe 10 megamics or megs as I call them, megometers, whatever, and then cut to your main station, that gives you such a distance change that there's no way you're going to get quantum snared or trapped, and pirates won't be able to counter doglegging. It's just something that is unfeasible without them being able to directly scan and target players individually in quantum or in quantum travel versus what they have to do now. So that'll be incredibly important. The hauling categories, though, direct solar, mediums, and direct interstellar for the whole sea are pretty much the best thing. And my route for junior and member, which isn't as important to everybody, but you'll be able to reference the stream, would be like Pyro to Bygenie, and then Terra, and then Everest, then Port Tressler, then Magnus, then Seraphim, and then back to Pyro. That's how I was running the missions to kind of grind through those. But once you got to member, it made more sense just to stack the missions on something like a Cat or a Taurus to bust through that to get too experienced. And some other people have their methods too. But yeah, sorry. That was a lot. There'll probably be even more as I'm making the video. Let me get back into the chat a little bit here. There are contracts between all 3. Need a whole sea Vaughn mission. Oh boy, that would be insane. Definitely gonna need some escorts. Let's see. Caught you live. Yeah, gonna do the Magnus Terra back and forth. That's a good move. Yeah. Because you also, and then there's Terra Pyro Gateway. Pyro Gateway is gonna be risky though. You want to talk about needing the dogleg and such. Or such. When you get to Pyro Gateway, you're just there, and you're at the mercy of all the shenanigans there. So Pyro Gateway is probably going to be a place to avoid. Magnus, Everest, and Terra are going to probably be our hotspots. How long does it take to get too experienced? So, I'm glad you mentioned that, Ubi. Let's see if I can extrapolate real quick before we touch down in Terra here. So I got with 2 stacks on my Caterpillar and about 2 hours and 40 minutes of gameplay, I jumped up from probably about the 75% mark on member up to about the P on experienced. With one of those, I jumped pretty much like a whole third of the bar. So I think that maybe 16 to 20 member missions probably gets you through the rank pretty fast. I actually had that all recorded, and I'll make a video showing you guys what I was doing. But I get 8. I go to, it's specifically Everest to Hurston distribution centers, and I do 8 contracts that each have a different commodity type. Makes it really easy to separate, and they each only have 3 drop-offs. And the loading phase took me anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, and then the drop-off phases are really fast. And then you just go back up to Everest to start the loop again. And I was blowing through it last night. I did 2 of those to get up to experience so I could do this whole sea testing. Because with member, you can't really do this station-to-station stuff. There's only like 1 mission that lets you go station-to-station. The rest is all planetary stuff. So getting a ship where you can stack that, and of course that's if you have something like a Taurus or a Caterpillar that can handle from 120 to like 150 SEU of cargo. So there is that caveat. We got a lot of asteroids around us. So I need to be super careful. But yeah, the best thing you can do is just stack those planetary member missions. Avoid HDMSs, guys, or any of the outposts with external cargo elevators. They're incredibly unreliable. They might work 1 in 10 times, and they will just waste your time. I go to the HDPCs like Casillo Farnsway, Kovalex Distribution Center, Sakura Sun Magnolia, and of course the actual spaceports themselves like Tisa, Riker, New Babbage, because those internal large hangars have never failed me. They've never been a problem. Oh yeah, I forgot, we're a little bit lighter, so we've got a little bit more speed control. We'll take advantage of that. We'll get up to about 400 and cruise.
Hello, and thank you for
Alright, we'll start decelerating actually, because that cargo grid area is pretty close. Really liking the mission play with the whole sea. Yeah, I love it. Smig, I don't know what's going on with the Twitch subscribe thing. I've had some issues with this, with Twitch more than YouTube. I apologize. Let me know if Twitch is like messing up or doing something wrong.
You are clear to launch.
There we go. We got our grid. I'm gonna roll and vert strafe over because I have enough, or I have little enough cargo that I can actually roll properly, which is great. And apologies, the piloting the whole sea takes a lot of attention here. I'm gonna see what happens if I just come in here diagonally. We're gonna try that out again. We're gonna try out how sloppy we can be with it. This time with 600 SU versus like 10. I'm gonna start slowing down. What's up, Bearded Prince? Having a coffee before work, chilling, watching you keep me calm. Hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I've got my own little snacks and stuff, trying to wake up myself. You know, about another hour and a half, I'll be taking my butt to the gym and then getting to work. So glad to have you all here with me. It's awesome. There we go. Bring us back to a stop here. Let's hit our park and brake. And what I mean by that is I'm just going coupled to try to hold us in place. And it seems like we're good. Yep, we're offloading. Let's go. Oh, and yeah, Alex, I feel you on the sitting dormant part. I've gotten very little play in live with the whole sea since the PTU went up shortly after I got my whole sea. And I was just like, all right, let's just see how it's going to be in the future patch. All right, let's get out of here. I want to see that box go away. That's another tip I didn't really include. If the box is acting weird, I like to leave Armistice to make the box actually fully disappear and call a new one. I don't really have any data as to whether or not that is really helping, but it's just something that kind of makes logical sense to me. Like, just get a new box if it's acting up. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and get that Terra to Magnus one, and then I will hop back and catch up on the chat. The whole sea takes a lot of attention and mental energy to make sure you're not messing anything up. There we go. Terra to Magnus, even bigger, 4330. All right, let's call it out. Let's see, where's the box hiding? Is it underneath me? Am I right on? Oh, there it is. Pretty much right on top of me. Hell yeah, let's go. Where's my thrust vector? There it is. So at least with these loading areas, as long as you're inside it, they seem to be pretty forgiving, so you don't have to worry too much about your angle of approach or what direction you're facing. I know personally I like to be as even as possible. And she's loading! I see that progress bar. Woohoo! I actually really love the look of these 32s with the Dusk livery, which, shout out to, oh my goodness. Oh, there was a commenter on the YouTube channel, I think it was Dave, who brought to mention that these paint packs, this is paying homage to, or homage, however you want to say it, to UPS. The Dusk paint pack is actually a nod to the UPS trucks, and the Empyrean paint pack is a nod to the UPS airliner. It's just that the slant's inverted. So if you guys like go Google UPS airliner and the Empyrean paint for the whole sea, and you'll see what we're talking about. And then the Dusk for the UPS truck with the slanted gold stripe and all. I thought that was a really dope nod to real-life logistics. Alright, let's see. Really, give a follow. Oh, thanks for the follow, Mitchell. I appreciate it. You too, Smeek. Mako the Reaper. Hey, how to transport scrap-type cargo from station to station on whole sea. So, the one thing I haven't messed with yet that I am going to get into for sure, because I want to for my own org ops and such, is messing with personal cargo, like grabbing scrap from VHRT bounties and then dropping them at stations, or even going station to station with your own. What my buddy Taylor has told me at one point was you actually have to like create a work order somehow for this to happen, because it won't just automatically let you do this, which is frustrating. So I'll have to get back to you on that. You know, we'll have to do a little bit more testing, because right now I've basically been testing the reliability of the hauling missions, which so far so good. If I can get through these without any partial submits today, I will be extremely happy. It's so cool seeing this thing load up. And I think that's supposed to be it, because our cargo grid is back. We pretty much got everything. There's our little 8 SKU over there next to the 32s. Sweet. Alright, let's get out of here. I haven't noticed, too, that the impound police haven't been so bad. Or, sorry, I've noticed, if I can use my words properly, that the impound police haven't been quite as brutal. But that's another tip I should mention. When you're dealing with stuff around the cargo area, just be on alert and be ready to full burn away, because they will try to impound you before you can blink. These cops do not play. Alright, let's set course back to Magnus. Wicked. I didn't get an obstructed issue, which I like. That's kind of annoying when that happens. Don't want to overcompensate with our pitch, because we got a nice full load. And 120 gig jump back. Another tip, guys. Get an Erebus Quantum Drive. Class A Civilian. Or a TS2, if you can get your hands on one. Even though the Agni is technically a little bit faster, the Erebus acceleration, deceleration, cooldown, and efficiency just makes it the clear winner, hands down. I've referenced this a few times. My buddy Captain Kuz and I did a drag race with our M2 and Caterpillar. I was running Agni. He was running Erebus. My Agni got humbled pretty badly. A little bit earlier on the channel, just him and I messing around. If you want to have some fun, check that out. I think you'll like it. And Daniel, oh yeah, I've had that, except it spawned in the hangar with the spines out. Thank you. Oh, you're talking about the issue with the ship state that it's in? Can be a real pain. I'd love to see hauling and pyro with escorts. Me too, man. Pyro needs the hauling work, because I've tried messing around with hauling missions there, and it only seems to be planetary to station. I would risk it if you could go station to station. I haven't really gotten high enough rank in pyro, because all of those ground places where you're pulling the cargo out of the external elevators, it would always bug. That's why, again, another really big tip, guys, don't waste your time with the external elevators on planets right now. The outpost elevators where you touch down on a pad and it's right there, because typically they'll go into a forever loading. You'll go to hit to bring the elevator up or down, it'll close and reopen, and then it'll just forever load. And both of them are broken anytime that happens. You know, you'll see just a mob of ships in the area too, because everybody was trying to do it. And people get pissed and they'll leave their stuff there, which increases resource drain on the system. It's a real pain. Try to go to distribution centers in Stanton. You'll enjoy it a lot more. You'll have a lot less headache, especially once you're in member rank and you really have no choice but to do those sort of planetary grinds. Yeah, I'll be testing outposts like that, especially in upcoming PTUs and stuff, to get the seal of approval. But the first one I tried, if you actually go on the channel, you see the hauler's guide, a real quick breakdown of some simple tips and tricks with hauling. Definitely not all-encompassing by any means. I'm actually going to take a lot of the comments in that awesome video to make a follow-up with all the strategies that other people use and the things they've encountered too. It's really sick being able to lean out on the experience of other haulers and industrial players in this game. Hull A from member. Yeah, Hull A will get some stuff done. You'll be able to stack 3 or 4 missions on the Hull A and run that around. That'd be really fast. That might be the way to do it, Ubi. The Hull A for the member missions. Can the Hull A grid 4s? Can it grid quads? Because the member missions that I was doing, they're quads, doubles, and singles. That's it. There's no 8s or 16s or 32s or 24s. It's only quads, doubles, and singles. So if the Hull A can hold quads, for sure. I haven't actually playtested the Hull A since the package size has changed. Smeeg, I just don't see an option to sub to you. Was gonna use my Twitch Prime. Weird. I'm gonna have to. I'll check that out after stream and see what's going on with that. I appreciate it. I know I've seen to get a follow. Oh wait, I think I know why. I am not qualified for Twitch member or YouTube member on these channels yet. I'm not making any money or a part of their programs yet. So as far as like officially subscribing on Twitch, because I think that's when you pay, or YouTube members, I don't have those yet. I really, really appreciate that there's already people that want to do that. That is really cool. And when that option becomes, yeah, partner, that's the term. I am on my main Cyberlift channel. YouTube probably will soon if it keeps growing like this, man. I'll probably, because I've got more than enough watch hours and everything with all these videos that have been blowing up, which big thanks to everybody. It has been so incredible. But I'm almost to that 1,000 subscriber mark, way faster than I thought. I mean, at the start of the month, I had 30 subscribers. So to me, this is an insane growth. Like, I will not complain. It's really great. But yeah. Once I get partnered, you'll be able to do that. It's really cool that you guys are already wanting to. I appreciate it. Oh, my favorite planet, Alex. Bloom, hands down. Bloom and Pyro. Gorgeous. It reminds me of Earth, honestly. It's like the colors, and what really hits me with Bloom and Pyro is when you quantum in. I'm already getting goosebumps. You might know what I'm going to say. Those chilling vocals with the female vocals when you hit Bloom just puts me in that mode every time. Oh my god. In that mood. It's incredible. I love it. Yeah, Bloom's my favorite planet so far. What's up, Frisk? Long night's finally driving home from work. Oh yeah, man. How's it going out there with, I mean, you're dealing with much bigger ships than what I'm dealing with. I don't think you probably have ever used the term ship for locomotive though. But that's some work, man. That's about as industry as it gets. I know a guy who farms comps, so I got a TS2 on my whole C. Woo! There you go, Smack. Yeah, TS2's sick. My boys in the org, like 2 patches ago, 401 before 402 came out, they surprised me with a gift from my Connie Taurus. They got me an XL1. I was so happy. I got to use it for like 3 days before 402 hit. What's up, Wind Talker? Do the experience missions scale to your ship? No. They're pretty solid in their SU or their SKU count. Experienced is where the caterpillar kind of starts getting left behind a little bit. 2 guys with cats can do a good job, but experience is where you're really going to want to have your C2 Hercules, because some of these missions, you know, they're up in the 600s, and you can still do that on a C2, but the big ones are predominantly whole C focused, because you're doing 12 to 4,300 SU, and these missions, you can also, you guys might not know this, but if you got like 3 haulers together, like 3 caterpillars or, you know, a couple of different hauling ships, you can share these missions and divvy up the cargo, because you can call it from your own elevators. So if you got like I don't know, 3 or 4 guys that want to do a hauling mission, you can actually split a big one and fill up all of your C2s. I don't know if the money and rep is still split. It might be. I think they're trying to go away from that, which would be really fantastic for industrial play in the future, because you can split like this 4,300 contract between, like, what would that be? Well, that'd be like 7 or 8 C2s and cats. So that'd be a lot. But yeah, split play is pretty awesome. Land ships. Yes, that's what you're in. Tell you what, man, for streaming, these jumps between Magna. I always say Magna. I want to say Magna and Terrace for some reason. I'm getting all dyslexic on it. Magnus and Terra are going to be great periods of time to keep up with chat and actually talk with you guys, since we got 120 gigs of distance to cover. Alright, so yeah, I actually kind of used more of my engine power than I liked there. So I'm also running through this, as you can see, with my shields down in flight or nav mode because of speed limits. The whole C only does about 110 meters a second with shields up. If you're in a more dangerous place, or you're dealing with, you know, like Pyro Gateway, I probably would slow boat it with shields up, especially if you get 4 parapets on this thing. No little ship is getting through this in any meaningful amount of time before you're able to change directions and get out of there. Now, if you're ganged up by an entire pirate org, that might be a little different. Alright, we got up to about a 300 meters a second mark, and it looks clear. We'll double check that it's clear, because we might have to do some directional strafing if it isn't. But we're going to do our flip and burn, baby. Let me get an early look at what's behind us. Yeah, it looks good. No drones and crap sneaking up on us. We're going to give it a little bit more of a delay. Okay. Whoop, a little too high. Ooh, that might be the mark. Let's see. We just got ATC. Let's see, from 300 meters per second. Full burn, can't style. How sick does that look, dude? God, this gets me so hyped. Wow, that might have been the way to do it. Let's go ahead and call. The little double tap. We'll double tap again. There it is. We are out of boost, and we are now slowing down with main engine power, which is okay. About 100 meters a second. We're just going to keep at it until we get down to about that 50 to 40 meters per second. It seemed to be a really good speed for this. So why don't we do 45? Oh, 44. Oh, there it is. Oop, okay, so we're going to actually stay on our decel. Bring it down more. And just get that node where we want it. Because it'll come around the left side there. Oh, never mind. That came over the top. Totally threw me off. So that was pretty good. That got us nice and close to the grid. See, this is how flip and burn is supposed to work. When you're not slamming yourself into a purple drone and blowing up everything. That was hilarious, though. I mean, that's a good time. So I am one of those guys that you're not going to have to worry about me, like, flipping out on stream and getting mad and throwing a tantrum, which might be entertaining for some. I'm just going to laugh it off and be like, oh, well, shit. I messed up. Hopefully I can be a source of more enjoyment and fun versus some of the babies that are complaining about the game all the time. Don't get me wrong, I'll get frustrated by the game. You know, Chris Roberts will get under my skin every now and then, but I try not to let it affect me too much because we know what we got into. I'm just kind of tapping the brakes as we're coming in. Alright, gonna pull back further, engage our park and brake, do a little strafey action, and then hold. It's dropping! I like my Taurus for getting up to experienced rank. Yes. Yeah, I am a huge fan of the Connie Taurus. Up until I got the Hull C, it's my most used ship, but the Hull C might change that. The Connie Taurus is incredible, though, for throwing those boxes around. Personally, like in that video, I do it in like reverse alphabetical order when I'm doing those member drop-offs. So the last station I'm going to will go to the very back of the ship. And I like to do it in that way. Like I'll do the Kovalex Center first, then Casillo, then Farnsway, then Sakura, then Tisa. And Kovalex only takes the stems. So it's usually like 2 or 3 stems, and then the stems will go to Farnsway or Sakura, one of the others. But yeah, I just load it from back to front, kind of like squishing it all together as much as possible. That way, when I'm offloading, I'm just in my ship's tractor beam, pulling it off front to back. I take some pictures on my phone to kind of get an idea of what's going where. And it makes it pretty quick. I can actually do the missions a little bit faster in the Connie Taurus than in the Caterpillar if I've got my loading method down. It's really the initial loading that takes the longest. The fastest I've done it, and I don't remember how I did it this fast. I might have actually messed up my timer, but it was like 12 or 15 minutes, which was crazy fast. Like usually it's like 25 minutes for me to load up all 8 contracts on the Cat or the Connie. And then the offloads from like, including the flying and everything, going station to station is usually like 10 minutes per stop. So it averaged out to about an hour, just over an hour, and really wasn't bad. I also enjoy the hell out of it too. But it was a really quick way to grind through member. Oh no, you had to blow up your Hull C. Damn it. Yeah. So, fortunately, I haven't had to blow up my Hull C. Oh my gosh. That's number 2, dude. We're empty. What? Holy cow. Alright. That offloaded a little bit faster than I was expecting. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's turn and burn again. Let's see, we went Everest to Magnus already, right? That was our first one. So we're kind of just floating between Magnus and Terra, which is totally cool because, again, it's probably going to be the route that most people are going to want to do because it's going to be less trafficked. But I guarantee you Magnus to Terra is going to become trapped by pirates quite a bit. So actually what we'll do is I'll demonstrate doglegging. It's a really simple concept, and I'm sure plenty of you get what I'm saying with that. But I'm gonna just do it to show you good practices. Because you know that as Hull Cs, especially those of us who decide to risk it and put our own money down to move product, the good stuff, like if you're trying to move valuables that pirates will actually want versus this contracted stuff, you're going to have to be careful. Alright, actually, let's also stack. So we're going to go ahead and accept Terra to Magnus. And then we're going to... it was about 600 for Magnus Terra, right? It was like a 100k mission. I think it was a member... It was member or junior? I think it was member. Oh, it was... I think it was member. Because it was a bigger amount. Nope, not that one. Please give us a filter. We'd much appreciate it. Oh, no, it is experienced. Oh, sweet. That's awesome. So that means you're going to get more experience for doing experienced. Yeah, it's Silicon from Magnus Terra. All right, so now we got 2 contracts up, which means the grids are going to have to multitask a little bit. Not much, because we're not actually picking up and dropping off from the same spot. But still, being able to load up the contracts ahead of time is something that a lot of us like to do. Yeah, definitely need contract filters, man. I'll settle for even just the rank filter, but even more than that, I would like a filter between interstellar, solar medium, planetary small, or even be able to toggle a filter of like quantities, like the sizes of loads you're looking at, like greater than 1,000 SCU or greater than 500 SCU or less than. I'm sure they've gotten plenty of feedback to implement something like that. Direct and not direct would be nice. Yep, that's a solid option as well. All right. Looking at our grid to see if we're moving. Looks like we're actually stationary. We're not getting anything. Be a little patient. I don't want to hit my throttle too soon. All right, we'll do a little vert strafe. There it is. We're loading up. Yeah, what's up, British Ghost? This is 4.1 PTU. Should be the final day of PTU testing. We just got an update last night, and we're going into our third... Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4th contract? I guess I can check. I'll just pull up the contracts in a second. We're testing the big contracts, the experienced contracts. Deliver to Magnus. So yeah, it's the wrong one. I'm going to go ahead and just hit Terra up here. Yeah, I prefer to manually search most of the time because one bug that is still a really big problem, especially if you're doing and tracking multiple things, is it'll just change the mission you're tracking. It's like, why? Stop. I don't know if it defaults to the last mission you're tracking or what, but it is frustrating. All right, getting rolled around. Yeah, see, there's the box came back because I think it's registering us offloading as well. Let me double check. We should be good. Looks like, yeah, we got everything. If anything messes up with this mission, I'll probably blame pilot error, human error. Just a full text search would be amazing as well, as we have in cargo elevators. Yeah, that's a really good idea too, Alex. Same with like the nav points, like where you want to go in the system. So they obviously have a built-in ability for text-based searching. If we could text-based search and just like type in interstellar, and then it gives you all the interstellar missions, that, you know, that might be the simplest and most reasonable approach there. Maybe give us text-based and then like quantity. Those two things will probably take care of most issues. Because you could just like type in JUN for junior or MEM for member. Yeah, that might be the way to do it. Let's all bug CIG. Be like, give us text-based search for cargo. Any other ideas from you guys? Let me hear them. Yeah, you know, I was thinking about it. What was it? I think the Reclaimer has a shorter expedited time than the Whole Sea does. It's like 10 minutes, and it's almost a $40 million or 40 million AUEC ship. The Whole Sea is a 16.5 million AUEC ship. It's a 15-minute claim timer. Honestly, this is just my opinion. The Cat around 6, not bad. That's fine. The Whole Sea should be like 8 to 10 minutes tops. 15? What? Give us a break, man. The amount of times that people are going to come at us and attack us and try to blow us up. Oh, man, I said I was going to dogleg. Shoot. Which you can still do even if you're in the middle of it. So let's do that real quick. I just cancel quantum. I want to show you guys just the simple method. Even if you like stop in the middle of it, because your quantum snare can be anywhere, and that's a very long distance. I'm just going to like set destination to Mikel 1 real quick. Which is this way. And you don't have to do it for long. And it's also going, like, you know, dogleg in the direction you're going to. You want to shorten your distances. This is also another reason that the Erebus quantum drive is really good, because the stage 1 and 2 acceleration is crazy fast. So you're not going to lose as much downtime. So we're going to wait until we're at, like, maybe 55 gigameters away, or gigs away, and then we'll redirect back to Terra. This is a dogleg tactic. This is to get around pirates, to get around quantum snares, and the distances are so great and impossible to predict that you don't have to worry about pirates trying to figure out a workaround for this. Whatever you do, don't solo a whole sea carrying commodities used for the priority missions on live unless you want to get pirated. Yep. I'm actually really glad you mentioned that. Digital design, what's up? Yeah, so the hauling commodities part is risky on its own. Doing it in Pyro, you're basically asking for it. That's what, I mean, Pyro's whole thing is the lawless system, and we were going so fast that I slightly overshot. So yeah, now we've done that. We'll go ahead and redirect over to Terra. And you only have to worry about, you know, shifting 30 to 50 kilometers to avoid snares, but when you can do it by several 100,000, you're definitely good to go. I took about 3,800 SKU of contracted ice to sell at Checkmate, managed to make it over there and unload safely, was thrilled. That is really sick. Yeah, I mean, saw a solo whole sea full of ice earlier today. Wow, that's pretty wild. Yeah, the hard thing is, like, you can easily avoid pirates while jumping, but if the pirates know where you're going, there's really... Ooh, quantum fuel at 25%. Wow, we are burning through quantum fuel so much faster with all this mass. I hope they factor that in. We're gonna have to refuel on this stop. So we'll drop our load. We will close her up, dock and refuel, and then get back to it. That's kind of cool, getting the full experience. But yeah, if the pirates know where you're going, and they set up shop where you need to drop off, you're just SOL, dude. There's no doglegging around that. Yeah, snare radius is 20 kilometers, so even if you deviate a bit from the direction route, it'd be impossible to catch you. Yep. Yeah, these sorts of things, like if they're sitting in between, like they were doing big time in Stanton between, I think it was Magnus and Pyro, where I think you could buy either the ice of a tin and shoot it over. People were getting trapped like crazy. Or from Crusader to Pyro, or around Yella and such. That was what bugged my whole sea when I stopped to refuel. Yep. So refueling's not been too bad. I say not too bad because I haven't had any issues yet, but I always want to caveat that with the yet part of that sentence, because when it comes to anything in the PTU or things you haven't done enough, you know, the certainty is a little bit lower. I've done enough missions that there's tangible, observable, objective improvement in the reliability of these cargo grids and how these missions are working. Early in the PTU, I docked and blew up immediately because it tried to auto-dock me because I got close enough to the docking node, I guess. Because I didn't hit auto-dock. I just got so aligned with it that it just started the auto-docking phase, and then I immediately exploded. And it was just like, what happened? I think that was on one of my live streams for the whole sea. So if you're able to find it, that'll be a good little laugh. I'm gonna make a whole sea fails video, like a good spirited, like funny whole sea fails video at some point, like a blooper reel of whole sea shit. I think that'll be fun. I just hope, I have a bad habit of like cleaning out old things that I don't need anymore in my video stuff, so hopefully it's still there. Worst case, I think I can download it from YouTube on the live streams. The quality might just be a little bit meh. Yeah, whole sea bloopers would be funny. Yep, I think so, man. It's a good time. I mean, I've already had her run away from me, which is what gave her the name Maggie C from Runaway Bride, thanks to somebody in the chat. Because I didn't make sure that we were coupled, and I think we were still drifting at like 2 meters a second. So I jumped out with my tractor beam to pull some crap off of my splines, and there she goes, drifting away. Somebody called her the Runaway Bride, and that's how she got her name, the Maggie C, which is fitting. Whole sea, Maggie C. Good times, man, good times. Snare around planets and orbital stations, pointless because their planes rotate. Gateway stations, I'm not sure. Yeah, and since you can fire and do everything around stations, it's tough because you would expect the turrets to kind of protect you and do their thing, but even though they buff the turrets damage and such, I don't think they're competent enough, like smart enough to actually get the job done, because they seem to like luck on individually too. I haven't really noticed where it's like all station turrets are like target, you know, and kill the enemy. It seems to be like you pissed off one of the turrets and the other ones are just chilling. So until they make it to where all the turrets are like, hey, hostile here attacking a cargo ship, and they just delete that cargo ship, I think it'll take away a lot of the incentive to do the pirating. I had a guy in the PTU yesterday in my, like, I was flying into my cat, and I got it on video, so I'll probably put it as a funny little bit when I make the member video. But there was this little hornet, shields down, getting attacked. I just got my quantum fuel low beacon. I think we're gonna make it, but oh, this is sketchy. But yeah, he was coming at me, and he started to shoot at me, and then the station deleted him like half a second later. And then a Connie Taurus, or Connie Andromeda, whatever, a Connie almost ran right into me leaving the station. It's like, what is happening, guys? The PTU is insane. That was all around Everest Harbor of all places. It's like, what? Commander Hobo, I enjoyed all the donated supplier die commodities on its way to Pyro Gateway. Hey, that's a part of pirate gameplay, man. It's in the game for a reason. I'm glad that you had some fun with that, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I may be on like the lawful side of gameplay, but I enjoy good pirates. I spent many thousands of hours in Sea of Thieves and the pirating world, but I definitely like the blue collar work, as I've called it. You know, the lawful side of industrial work. Most of the combat I get, I'll throw on Call to Arms and go pick fights with the red players to have some fun. It's all in good spirits, though. I miss good pirates. Like, if I was transporting some valuable cargo in my whole sea, and you came up and shook me down for money, there we go. That's pirating. Like, or you want some of the cargo, and we agree on something where, you know, I'm not coming out of it dead or waiting for a claim time. You're making a profit, and you can move on and keep pirating and sort of have like a underground lawless sort of ecosystem going on where people just kind of understand how certain pirate orgs operate. Like, that's pirating. That's a real criminal underworld in the verse, and that I can actually respect from gameplay standpoint. Like, I hope we actually get to something like that versus the very murder hobo-iness or hobo-y state we're in. Alright, I'm going to check out the chat after I get us up here and properly offloading, so I don't get too distracted and ruin our wonderful time. Oop, I should have just kept my roll where it was, because I convert strafe here to nullify velocity. There we go. Boost vertical strafing and 600 SU of cargo, so it's still taking a second, but it's a decent amount of decel. That's good. Add a little forward thrust to get our direction where we want. There's our indicator. Let's get down here. Smooth movements. I like to generally keep my thrust indicator pointing away from things I can run into, but sometimes you just really can't help it. We should have enough thrust to slow us down. Yeah, we're good, because we're not in a full load. We're dropping off and picking up. Ooh, oh boy. This is actually a more important test than I was even thinking about, because we're dropping off the 600 or so SCU and picking up 4,300. So let's see how this goes. Oh, it's loading. Put on the little ones. We might have cargo transfer complete. Uh-oh. So, this part of the testing, I give everyone a choice, but most never responded, so we just took it all. Hey, yeah, there you go, Commander Hobo. That's valid. That's valid, dude. If they don't respond, that's on them. If you're getting pirated, you need to pull up your text chat or respond to the hails. Whatever it is, typically it's going to be you're getting hailed because, you know, keeping it private.
Thank you.
But yeah, if they're not responding, they're not cooperating, they're not doing anything, I don't blame you. That seems legit to me. All right. I had a little bit of issue last night where it was giving me the small stuff first, which worked against me. I'm actually going to do what I did. Oh, yep, we're backing up because I had a feeling that was going to happen. Make sure we don't back into anything. There we go. Just outside. I get annoyed by people who PvP just to kill essentially defenseless ships. What's the point of taking your pimped out Super Hornet or something to blow up enemy C2 to dust? Yeah, that wasn't challenging and you got basically nothing from it. You just wasted both of our time. I agree. That's kind of my point. You know, I like, or I can get behind the idea of like hopping in a combat ship to go pick on other combat ships for fun and pirating like what Commander Hobo is talking about. I respect that. But yeah, just straight up pointless killing. That's just, I don't know. People get bored, whatever. I just hope that, honestly, if we get a decent system, especially in Stanton, where the prison sentences actually matter, like, I'm all for 10xing the prison sentences. That way you actually have to work to get out, man. You can't just spend 5 minutes and hop out of prison. Like, prison needs to be bad enough that players who are going to be criminals actually have to think about that and be good criminals. And be like, shit, I really don't want to go to prison. Versus just, like, logging off for an hour. Be like, it's whatever. No big deal or whatever. I think that'll help. But also, the Pro 10 bounty system coming back and Call to Arms doing its job properly and actually sending people to prison will be important. Oh, shoot. If that's an 8, I can't do the trick that I want to do. I was just going to bring it inside my ship, but that's a rather large box there. So, this one, I'm going to pull off. I don't know that it's the case, but I feel like when they do the small ones first, it causes an issue. I think the bigger issue might be that we have that load that we need to drop off here, which, for the sake of things, I might need to just abandon the current one that only gave us the 2. We'll just kind of toss this off to the side for time's sake. And then we'll try to drop off the 600. Because stacking these big missions might not be the way to do it. I'll do more testing, especially live and such. Don't have as much time this morning as I would in a normal playtest session during the day. What's up, Lawless? Space trucking has been doing really good. Right now, it's getting a little interesting because I tried stacking missions. We got about 600 SCU of goodies on board, and we're trying to drop off and pick up a 4,300 SCU load. So I think that is probably a bit risky. Whoa. Getting drunk there a little bit. There we go. Yeah, if it was just a 1 or a 2, I'll like put them inside the ship here and then try to load again, because if the small ones load first, it might block the big ones. That's my speculation. I saw that somewhere in the comments on some video. I don't know if that's the case here. I think here it's just that we have these 2 missions. So we're going to abandon the big one that we're trying to pick up and just grab it again. And again, guys, abandoning still doesn't affect your rep. So, whoop, accepted. So don't worry. Partial submitting can. Abandoning hasn't. And just to show you, we just abandoned a big one. And I'm down to member. No, I'm just kidding. We're still looking good. And we're getting quite a bit of experience for these. Alright. Now that that's abandoned, let's try to drop this load off.
You are clear
Make
to
sure I
launch.
close the ship. That's another tip. Make sure you close your whole sea up. Sounds like this is getting into the territory that you need to hire escorts. Yeah, if it's good enough that a lot of people focus on these ships, you're probably right. If you're doing this kind of stuff in Pyro or around Pyro Gateway, I would have some buddies around for sure. Well, that and bounty hunting is what I do. Hell yeah! I do enjoy the bounty hunting gameplay. I like having a focus of sort of being the person that tries to help defend passive industrial players and such. Trying to work on my combat piloting skill to be a bit more useful there. Alright, we'll see. We're here. Do a little vertical strafe, try to shake it up a bit. I might have broke it by trying to do the 2 missions together. I might need to do a manual offload and get rid of this contract too. I hope not. Let me also just make sure I'm not in the wrong place. Because you never know. You know, you're getting caught up, chatting with all you wonderful people. Yeah, this was going to Terra. Oh, delivered 96 out of 608. Oh, it's going. It's going. Let's go. Oh, I'm so relieved. Okay, cool. We dodged a bullet, guys. We dropped our load. Giggity. Alright. So now let's try to pick up the big one. Make sure we don't back into anything, including the 2 little boxes we had dropped off.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. I think a lot of us will. I think all the wow, just had a stroke. All the whole sea pilots are going to be flooding Magnus and Terra. So I think, yeah, one of the biggest, probably underrated tips of advice to take is think about the incentive there are going to be for pirates. Contracted stuff doesn't sell for all that great. It's like half value at Grimhex and such. But those of you who decide to risk it and use your own money to transport commodities, you're going to have to be careful. Because word's going to get out, you know. Content creators like me and others who are going to catch on to the train with the whole sea and be like, oh my god, it works. That means that all the pirate orgs are going to find out it works. You know, it's just the ecosystem of Star Citizen. So you're going to want to be smart. Alright, let's get in here and get this next big load. Lawless, I've been ERT Pyro bounty hunting with the Eclipse for quick money. Already. Oh, I'm in coupled mode. I was like, why did we stop? Dummy. Already took the components out of most of my ships for the next patch. Yeah, I did that too. I'm hoping that works. I went and I transported myself to home, claimed all my ships, and yanked off all their goodies. So hopefully we keep some of them. Because it would be nice to not have to worry about going out and going shopping. Typically that means I'm heading to Stanton, and I'm taking a trip to New Babbage, which tends to have like 90% of everything you need for ships, and dropping like 5 or 6 million on ship components. Oh boy. I hope they persist. And then look at that, instantly getting this unloaded. Man, alright. I was worried because last night's PTU with all the server errors and hiccups, these missions were bugging out so hard that I couldn't get them done. And I was like, great. The experience missions are going to totally make me eat my words and look like an asshole because I've been saying that the whole sea's working, the whole sea's working. And thankfully the update they did got rid of the server issues, and we're still seeing that reliability translate. Now again, I'm going to probably add this to the whole to tips video. For these bigger missions, probably not something you want to stack. Even with just dropping off and picking up. As we just saw, it created an issue. It like dropped 2 of the small ones on. It didn't take off the load that I needed to drop. So yeah, you know, be patient. Single run, add contract, single run, add contract, you know, do it that way. And in the future, hopefully it gets more stable that it can do that. 75% value in Pyro. Is Grimhex really 50? I believe so. Somebody told me that Grimhex was about 50%. I've not checked that myself, so we're going off a third-party source. Take that with a grain of salt. It might be incorrect, but that's what I was told. Though that'd be a lot of C2s or fatter pillars to unload a C and sell at Grimhex. Yeah, it would be. That, I think it's like, do some quick math. That's like 7 to 8 ships full of stuff. Trying to offload a full whole C's worth. Patch will likely, so I should caveat this because I think it was Daniel earlier in the chat brought up a good point. Different people, different parts of the world. I'm East Coast United States here in the state of Florida. So for me and my fellow East Coasters, it's probably going to be tonight. CIG likes to drop evening patches lately, and it would make sense for them to drop it tonight to be able to put out any hot fixes or issues that they need to correct before the weekend. Because typically the initial release of the big patches require a couple of hot fixes because things break when you're bringing it live to all of the people, which is why as soon as it does drop, I'm going to start recording some content and seeing how good it is, and seeing how it compares to the PTU. Alright, I'm going to set course to Magnus. I hope earlier in the day, that'd be sick. Last time it updated, I think was around like, for me, I want to say it was around 1500 hours or 3 p.m. Like it was kind of early in the day actually. I guess we'll see. 25%, says Keith. Wow. That kind of takes away any of the incentive to actually pirate and sell things at Grimhex. For contracted cargo, at least. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's a tiny bit. Yeah, Commander Hobo, I feel that. I've actually got some NDB 30s on my Gladius, and I would love to not have to get those again. I do. I think in this next patch, I'm going to get into some of the CCs and try to get some of the things I want, like the TS2s for my bigger ships, XL1s, and some military-grade components, especially some of the good stealth components. Though, if you're running stealth, you typically want to go with the lesser grade for the lower signature. But those NDBs especially. Alright, let's see if I can navigate to it now. Oh, that's right! Oh, shoot! I'm an idiot. I gotta refuel. And I loaded up with all this cargo. Dumb. Another tip, guys. Refuel before you take on 4,300 SKU of product. Oh, damn it. All right. Oh, what a pain in the ass. All right, let's see if I can remember where I think the cargo docking nodes are actually off of starboard here. Not too far away from... Ooh, she's big and heavy. Trying to be smart with this. Come on, big girl. Give me that thrust vector indicator. I need to see where we're going. Yeah, we gotta go to the docking ports to refuel. Even if your ship is, if you're at a station like this, when you have the whole sea out and she's closed, I think you still get a docking node. Let me know when you want to run some CZs. I'll run if I'm on. Hell yeah, dude. That sounds awesome. I've actually not messed with them. I know you gotta mess with like fuse relays and, you know, run through areas to unlock things and get to, I guess, a hangar that's got a ship with all kinds of goodies on it. It sounds like some really cool gameplay. I just haven't made my way to it yet. All right. Don't want to go too much faster because we're going to have to slow down. Pretty sure we're heading toward the docking nodes. Pirating is now about stealing the ship to scrape them. Yeah, that's a good point. Lots of salvage, lots of goodies.
Please proceed to some.
Yep, there it is. All right. Looks like it's going to be on the other side of it, though, given our orientation. Oh, actually, hang on. Well, let me put that thrust node away from the station, you know, like I always say. We're going to attempt roll. I'm actually throwing coupled on to go ahead and try to start slowing us down while I roll us. Because our roll axis is way off here. There we go. Oh, nope, it is on this side. Shoot. Uh-oh. Alright, keep slowing down, big girl. Yeah, it is on this side. My roll axis is what threw me off with it. What? No way that roll axis is correct. Really? I'm gonna have to figure this out. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Oh, it might be correct. Yeah, I think it is. There we go. I'm gonna hold us here for now just so I have a visual on where we're heading. We need to come back this way. This bit of the process might take a sec because we're getting up to this docking node. Docking port 2. Alright. I like to have a good visual on it. I really only enjoy stealing Polaris from the executive hangars. Hell yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and start slowing down again. We don't want to come into this too hot. There we are. Getting her all lined up. Bingo. Now we just got to strafe down. Let's see, let's check all of our axes. Too far back. Nope, we gotta keep going that direction. Cool. As well as in, but also forward. So I'm watching my X, Y, and Z axis, trying to bring them all down to about 0. Y axis is getting there. There's our docking node. I can see it now. So yeah, we gotta come forward a bit. Z axis is at 40, 30, 20. Slowing down. Strafing left to port. Y-axis is coming down to 0 too, very slowly, which is perfect. Now they're all coming down. Yeah. With auto docking, sometimes you gotta get to, you know, within a certain distance of it. I really love doing this sort of thing in Kerbal Space Program, so it kind of geeks me out to do this. Alright, let's get realigned here. I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and let it do the rest. How's that for a sight? And we're just doing this because we got to refuel. You burn through your fuel a lot faster when you got a full load. That's for sure. My fuel economy right now is smiles per gallon.
Landing complete.
We didn't detonate. That's a win. Now, this part is annoying because it doesn't always register that you've actually refueled. Yeah, like it's still showing that we've got like nothing. Let me just hop out of the seat real fast, see if that'll reset it. Because there's always a chance you might actually have to store the ship. Yeah, we'll see. We'll start a QT jump and see if we can go that route, because I'd rather not store the boat, but we might have to. For science. Let's check again and see. Yeah, it doesn't request anything, so.
You are clear to launch.
Alright, hopefully it lets us go properly. Free us from your bindings. There it is. And then we gotta get out of here because the impound police are mean.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Yep, look at that. Already.
Warning, you are blocking an active flight bay.
Yeah,
Please
no
vacate
shit.
the vicinity.
Rude. Alright. Now, back to Magnus. Actually, to stay true to the methods I've been mentioning. Oh, is it all still saying obstructed? This should count. Nick L5. It's also close enough that if we really have to refuel, we could probably just go there. Would like to get past these pylons before I quantum jump. I know technically it should be okay, but does not give me the warm and fuzzy. Yeah, alright, cool. It triggered, we're good. 8.6 million. Or, man, what is that fuel? What the hell is that unit for fuel? It's supposed to be like 8 SEU or like 9 SEU, right? 8.6 M. I immediately want to go to like million gallons or metric tons. It's hard to say. $20 mil sitting around. Have all the ships originally wanted. What ship would you prefer? That's an interesting one. I'm personally going to probably start getting into all the different hauling ships so I can kind of give my perspective on them. Is it the U or the C? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the units are for that. Man, 20 million. What can you buy for 20 million? The prices have changed and they're kind of all over the place, so I don't really know what's what. I'd probably mess around with different mining and salvage ships, hauling ships, just kind of trying different stuff. Maybe mess around with some ground vehicles if you haven't. It's kind of tough. There's a lot of stuff in this game that I've not... Oh, I jumped all the way here. I didn't actually mean to do that. Erebus is too fast, man. I'm not as familiar with all the different things in this game that you can actually buy, so it's kind of a good question. How about any ideas in chat? Got a few of you in here. What do you think? For 20 million, what should Lawless get into? Yeah, definitely a hell of a dog leg. Wasn't really... I was just kind of chatting, and the Erebus Quantum Drive is like, we're here! It's so fast. Ugh. Yeah, I guess that's a good starting question, Lawless. Connie Taurus is a good all-arounder. What is it you're looking to get into? Or I guess, if you don't mind, what ships do you have? Whoa, has a Taurus really gone up to 19.8 million? Because I think on Urkel it's still showing as 8 million. That's expensive. Yeah, that would make it more than the whole sea. Honestly, I don't know about ships. I'm at the same place. I have my starter, I have a Taurus, I have a whole C, I have a C2, 890 jump, 175 million and nothing to spend it on. Yeah. Yeah, 8.9 million sounds a little bit closer to what I would expect, unless they put like a massive tax on it. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, Digital, because I completely lost track of what a lot of the prices are. Because back last time I looked at like the Reclaimer and the Hammerhead, they were like 14 million each, like 14 or 15 million each. Now they're 30 and like 47 million. There's a reason both my Tauruses have XL1s and I have a pair of TS2s. Yeah. The Medical Terrapin is 5.7 and is a very cool ship. Yeah, that might be a good one to try out. I know I've heard a lot of people love their Terrapins. I haven't messed with it. But damn, Taurus Hull C 890 C2? I'd probably start messing around with maybe the mining or salvage ships, or maybe get into some of the racing gameplay, or start dabbling in the combat stuff. I don't know. It really depends on what people like. Bunker missions. Oh, the Terrapin would help there, yeah. Oh, you have a Vulture and Prospector too? Yeah, I got those as well. Depending on how the update does, people will get to rebuy everything. That's true, yeah. And an ATLS and Mirai Pulse. Yeah, Smig, you're kind of set, dude. I don't know. It sounds like you got to go visit Wikello, the Banu guy, and start doing all the in-game lore, content, story-driven stuff. Oh, boy. I know, so I mentioned a couple of streams ago that I wasn't sure if I was going to get the Ironclad. I'm locked in. I'm getting the Ironclad freight when it drops, because I think it's coming out before the Assault does. I already have the money set aside for it. I guess depending on whether or not you can use store credit. I melted a few things that I never use, and some paint packs that I didn't know I still had, and I'm sitting on over $500 in store credit, so I'll be ready for the Ironclad when it comes out so I can do some testing. The Drake Ironclad is like the Big Daddy version of the Caterpillar, 1500 or 1536 SKU of cargo capacity. The Assault variant will be built for multi-purpose stuff. I think it's got like the ability for repair decks, crafting, all kinds of other crap. But I don't know when the Assault's coming out. But yeah, if you look up the Ironclad, it is nutty. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. It's basically a really massive Caterpillar. Yeah, which is another reason I love it. I'm also, in my heart, I'm a Drake guy. I love the Drake ships. I'm also not like a loyalist. Like, I love a whole bunch of other ships, but Drake has a special place in my heart. You guys might have seen every now and then my desktop background hasn't been changed for like the last 4 or 5 years, and it's Drake Interplanetary. And I love my Caterpillar, and having the Ironclad would be sick. I can't wait for the Ironclad. I hope it gets the ghoulish green paint like the other Drake ships. Yeah, dude, that'd be sick. The Ironclad and eventually the Kraken. I've promised a buddy of mine that I won't buy the Kraken. Because I think he wants to try to get that. And like my current rule for any ship that's in game is before I allow myself to make the physical pledge or the real life pledge of money, I have to earn it in game. But with this channel spooling up and the Ironclad hitting pledge stores before it hits in game stores, that kind of changed things a little bit for me, because I would rather just earn it in game. But I was like, all right, if I have enough in store credit and I can use it to get the Ironclad, I will. Because I had an extra Gladius because I was really dumb and thought that I lost my Pirate Gladius when I actually didn't. I never use my Ion. I just don't. It just sits there unused, and if I ever want it back, I can buy it in game now, pretty easily. So between those two ships alone, it's over $300. And then I had some other things, some paints on ships that I've had ages ago that I never used, some paint packs, because I love getting paint packs. I probably have way too much money in paint packs. But yeah, long story short, I've got enough for the Ironclad now. So, yep. I know that the Ion was buffed. I've used it since it was buffed. The damage was buffed, but the control was nerfed even further. It's just my personal opinions, like, you really can only use the Ion very well when you're with other people, or if you're targeting the specific ships that it's meant to handle. And the damage still, man, it's just like using it against an Idris still feels like a bug on a windshield. Using it against like 890s and like the ERT missions and stuff is not bad. But if you're up against a hammerhead and you don't have any buddies with you to pull aggro, it's a bad day. I don't know. I find myself not using it compared to my other ships. So I'd rather have the ironclad. I'd rather put that money toward the ironclad. Yeah, so the paint packs are sick, man. I do really love the customization. The reason I call my Connie Taurus the Radian is because I use the Orange Heron paint pack. It just has that sick industrial vibe and that sort of white accenting. I love it. If you're curious to what it looks like in game, if you check out my hauling guide video on the channel, I'm using it in that video and you'll be able to see what it looks like. And we're here with another full load of goodies. Alright, we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to come off this side of the station a good ways. Get our thrust vector indicator like out there. Let's do our scan. I know we're not really close enough to see everything on scan yet. But I think that is a pretty good spot. Kind of in between the edges of this first cargo section. Well enough away from the station. And I don't see any... Let's go extra with this. Wait, hang on. Back off of that. Can I? There we go. Yeah, there's some asteroids, but it looks like we're going to be in the clear. Just going to be extra careful, man. I'm not trying to lose all this. So let's boost up. Get us to, what was the last time? About 300 meters per second? Sorry, I got a little tickle. You see me touching my face a lot. I apologize. Alright. There we go, and we're going to start turn and burn. Huh. That would be interesting. Outranging the hammerhead. See, I've never gotten that lucky. That thing would just bulldoze right for me. Alright, we're going to take a peek back, make sure we're clear. We're going to wait for the ATC to pop up. That seemed to be a good indicator of when to hit the burn. There it is. Coming in. Ooh, hang on real quick. Screenshot. Eclipse, Saber, Saber Firebird, Prospector, Vulture. Oh, those are all the ships you have, Lawless? Alright. Let's request our box. There we go. We're into about the 40s. Let's go ahead and rotate. Make sure we're not... Yeah, we're good decent distance enough away to not actually like, bump the station while rotating. I think... Wait, who... Did I miss something? I'll have to go back up in the chat. I thought whoever we were talking about already had the whole sea. Beltalowda! I love it. Hell yeah. Yeah, once we can craft and all, I will pretty much live off planet. Probably set up a spot out in the Halo or in some asteroid cluster somewhere. That'd be sick. I'm definitely getting the Ironclad freight initially. Do a lot of fun tests with it. And then eventually, you know, it might melt for the Ironclad Assault. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It is something it's a bridge we'll cross when we get to it. Alright, we came in here kind of intentionally sloppy. Catty-cornered, and we're offloading. What's up? Take that cargo. It's funny how to take it off in segments. Like, it doesn't just take it off all from one spline in a row. It kind of, like, jumps around. It's interesting. Talk about a slamming success this morning, though, guys. This has me so hyped to actually see the whole sea missions performing this way. Am I seeing this loner matrix right? If I get the whole D, I get a whole C, and then the Herc C2 as loners? Likely. So I have the Rylan on order, and it has it gave me a Connie Taurus as a loner. That's how that works, though. Like, my buddy Talius has a Banu Merchantman, so he's got the whole C on loner. That's pretty common. So, yeah, that should be pretty sick. I don't know. I definitely love the look of the Ironclad, but the inability to unload it in hangars is what's keeping me... Oh, sorry. Not the Ironclad. The whole C. Inability to unload it in hangars. That's what's keeping me from pulling the trigger. Yeah, I mean, it's a different lifestyle for sure. I will say though, I mean, I don't know if you're really gonna need the money. Some of you guys are already stacked. It's a fun time though, going between these missions, and it's kind of chill. Like, I could totally have some food, some coffee, maybe, you know, drink a little pre-workout, hauling stuff around, or while I'm editing like YouTube videos for my one channel, I can be hauling on the whole sea and stuff. I don't know, I like it. I like the vibes. I like how chill it is. I like how well it's actually doing. We're about to have another full offload of a massive experience mission, and the XP is pretty good. Saw a salvager that had the name of Sloppy Seconds. That's great. I hope all the drakes get their ghoulish green. I love that paint. Yeah, same. That looks really sick. Yeah, I play this game for fun now. Not having to worry about grinding for money makes it a lot less stressful. Money's overrated when you have internet spaceships. You're so right. Yeah, I have always wanted to kind of enjoy this game for sort of the immersion and the life experience of it, or like the lifestyle experience of it. Like, I'm living in the verse, you know. That's why I've never really chased what these kids call metas or min-maxing with regard, like, how much can you make per hour doing this specific run very strictly. And it's like, I mean, I can understand why players will want to go that route, because they just kind of have that grind achievement mentality, which is totally cool. I'm a bit more casual. I just like having fun, especially like on our Organites. You know, we'll have like 6 to 8 of us out there, and we're not really making a lot of money, especially with the way rep and money is split. But we're doing like aggressive salvage, where we'll get the Polaris, 2 vultures, and maybe an escort fighter that can land in the Polaris, and we just go out as a crew, hit ERTs and VHRTs, split up the goods that we pull off the ships, scrape the ships, throw it all in the Polaris, and just, we're all having a good time. That's what I'm here for. I love that kind of stuff. And wow, our money is jumping up. I forget that these contracts make some decent scratch. Let's see. We probably get in, what, maybe 1 or 2 more before I gotta go? It's already, well, we got about 7 minutes, and my nose won't stop itching. It's so annoying. It's like it knows I'm on stream. Alright. Oh yeah, we gotta do our experience back from Magnus to Terra. There it is. So that's kind of our loop, man. And what is that? About 850k as a down and back, which hopefully with senior and master ranks it opens up a little bit more. I'm senior ranked in live, so it'd be cool to see what our options are there. I think there's one mission that's 711, so it's not much more. It's only like 13k more. We'll see. I mean, when you're making about 700,000 in one drop off, I can't really complain about the money. Alright, let's orient and get on out. Wait. I'm empty. Don't get ahead of yourself, guys. Gotta pick up the load first. There we go. About to start heading over to Terra with nothing on the ship. I see they look a lot of purchasable ships at the site. Usually, or they took a lot of them off the site. Yeah, usually they're about to add a bunch of new ones soon. Plus, they haven't added any concept ships to the list lately. Yeah, and I think we're not too far off, right, guys, from Intergalactic Aerospace Expo or Invictus Fleet Week. I think those are coming up not too long from now. I'll be space trucking hauling all day on the whole sea with 500 mil in the bank. Yeah, dude. What is going on? 81. Yeah, the whole sea is... she's ready for prime time now, dude. I think the last time that people have said this ship worked, and I was actually not really playing the game much during this time, was like 3.18 when it came out. I took a break just because of my work life being totally insane with, like, I think around 3.14, and didn't get back in until basically 4.0. That just kind of how it timed out. I was like, oh shit, Pyro's coming. Yeah, I need to get back into Star Citizen. What am I doing with my life? And now here I am streaming and making videos and loving the hell out of it. But very true, I spent most of the day today exploring outposts and looking for gear from boxes. Yeah, there's a lot to this game that I haven't touched. You know, I kind of felt this sort of the grind and, how I want to say this, the grind and halt vibes when I played Sea of Thieves. Because my buddy and I grind so hard in the early days when Sea of Thieves first came out and got the Pirate Legend. Literally, like, grinding merchant by running after pigs and chickens way before they had any of the good missions that would speed up the process. And we got to Pirate Legend, and then we were so burnt out, we put the game down and didn't touch it for like another 6 months. I mean, we had a lot of fun and a great time, but we went so hard, and then once we achieved the goal of Pirate Legend, at the time, there was no other content in the game. There were no DLCs. There was no, like, badass Disney packs or anything or any of the extra stuff. So we're just like, all right, well, what now? Did your friend get the whole C and the C2 as loaners? I see indicating you get both. Yes, I believe he did. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's got a C2 and he's got a whole C. How does a whole C work? Am I able to load any cargo from my hangar? And if so, how do you get the box for pickup? So the personal side is something that I haven't, again, had a whole lot of experience with. What's going on, Tobias? From what I understand, from what my buddy Taylor's was telling me, actually, is that you have to create like a work order or something. I have no idea how to do this. I need to mess with it. I plan to once this goes live and I can mess with the personal stuff. Because I want to see what it's like to, like, have my buddies out there doing VHRTs, and I've got the whole C sitting there as basically a depot where they can just throw all the scrap and quantanium and all the goodies on board, and then we can go and get rid of it at the end of the day. But there are some extra steps, I think, to using your personal cargo and such, because you obviously can't load it manually. I think in the future when we get the vertical, outdoor, or external cargo hangars, that'll change. That'll be nice. But as for right now, this cargo grid is pretty much only used on the whole sea during hauling missions, or if you actually do the commodities trading where you spend your own money and then you send it to your ship, and once you send it to the whole sea, you get in your ship and then request loading and you'll get that cargo grid and you can do your thing. These quantum bugs can get you killed hauling stuff. Quantum bugs, what are you facing, Digital Design? So far in the PTU, it's been alright. Yeah, I'm curious which ones you're talking about, because there have definitely been quantum bugs. I'm trying to think if I've experienced any in the PTU in the later patches. Sounds like every wipe I spent in Tarkov. Oh, man. Oh, like when it won't jump. Yep. Yeah, like, especially when we were running into like the server mesh wall or whatever, and it would actually stop your jump or make you recharge. There were times where I had to spool up quantum like 3 times. If you're trying to get away from hostiles in that environment, that's not a good time. It's basically the same for personal stuff, I think. You just gotta either dock at the docking port or jump out for a landing pad and run in to sell stuff. Then go and request the cargo unload. Yeah, that's what I want to play with, because that's what I've heard from other people too. You just gotta get to the station, whether you dock or touch down next to an outside pad, and then run inside, and you just want to, I guess, because your ship's gotta be close enough that you can actually send the cargo to your ship. I think that's the important part. You can't just leave it in the station. You have to, I think, send, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I think you have to actually select your ship as the place you're sending it to, and then you get back to your ship and request cargo loading, and then you get the grid, and it'll do its auto-loading jazz. Because I think that's how you auto-load in your other ships internally. But yeah, okay, cool, thanks, yeah. Yeah, I've not personally messed with it at all, so I always feel a bit less confident when I'm talking about things that I haven't experienced myself. Yeah, this will definitely be our last run, because I forget how long these quantum jumps can take, and it is about to be 5 o'clock. So we're bumping up to the edge of the stream. I'm gonna get my food together and get ready to head to the gym. I've had a lot of fun doing this, man, testing out these experienced runs. This is the lighter run back to Terra, but I'm really glad that the 4,000 ones are doing really well heading to Magnus. But we'll finish out this load. West Coast, best coast. Hey, yeah, I spent 11 years in San Diego, California. Don't get too specific, but let me know what region of the West Coast you in. And let's look here. Yeah, we're getting well into experience. My gosh. And then completed contracts. Yeah, we've done, this will be the 7th contract in the experienced rank that we completed this morning with massive success. Hell yeah. Oh, very nice. Yeah, but you know what? Actually, my wife and I were going to move up to Washington. We're actually going to go out towards Olympia. And we still have plans to hopefully buy a house out there at some point. Maybe go between Florida and Olympia in Washington. But we got basically a 60-day notice to vacate with our last place. And I had connections here and my VA loan. I was like, man, let's just get to Florida, get a house, get settled, no longer be at the whim of property managers. And then we will go forward. This would be really good for loading RMC from Vulture runs if it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. Especially because you're dealing with all those single skew boxes, dude. Like, oh, man. I'm really glad that they went to having the doubles, quads, 8s, 16s, and all. That's really nice. I look forward to being able to hopefully, like, if you've got 32 singles, to be able to convert them into a single box of a 32 skew box. That'd be sick. To be fair, I'm about as close to Olympia as I am to Seattle, but it's easier for... Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Yeah, it's like when people ask what part of Florida, if I tell them I'm in Haines City, they're like, what the hell is that? And I'd be like, it's kind of in between Tampa and Orlando. And they're like, oh, okay. Totally understandable. Let me see if the Padre actually texted me at all. All right, there we go. Looking good. About another 30 gigs out. It's been really sick having you all in here. I would love to be able to combine boxes and make bigger sizes. Yeah, same. I hope that's another quality of life improvement we get. CIG said they will allow combining or splitting boxes. Question is when? Yes. Yes, that is the question. Will we count that as a new feature? I would count that as a new feature. And I know they're not really feature focused this year. That might be one feature that I'd be okay with being like, can you guys work this in without totally breaking the game? Because that'd be sick. Quality of life improvements, man, I think I'll always be for. Like the filters for the cargo, the contracts, the hauling and all. Or pretty much any mission. Like, just give us a search function for any mission. And then when you click into the specific mission, like whether it's bounty hunter or hauling, hauling is really the one that needs it. Because you just have well over 100 missions to go through by the time you get to experience, like 150. And being able to just search would be so incredible. I really hope that's what happens. Actually, while we're doing this, let me do our thing. I'm going to go ahead and pull up another Star Citizen streamer over on Twitch. And we will raid out as we conclude our own. Let's see who's streaming Star Citizen right now. Look at this guy. Death Angel DE. Got 69 viewers. He's doing some things. Copy that. All right, yeah, we're coming in. All right, back to mine. Make sure I do this right. All right, for anybody who's in the chat on Twitch, here comes our raid out. Oh, can't raid him. Never mind. All right, let me get the ship moving a bit. Apparently, he's got specific settings where you can't raid at certain times. Interesting. Yeah, I'm new to the raiding side of stuff, so we'll get us kind of pointing the way we want to go here. We have a lot more speed control since we're dealing with the lighter load, so we'll get up to like 300. And I'll just kind of keep an eye on that while I go back in here and pick another person to raid out to. How about this guy? Oh, he is not playing Star Citizen. What the hell? Oh, also watch. Got it. All right. D-lock. We'll do this. I'm keeping an eye on where we're going. Let's see if they'll do it. Yeah, there we go. All right, raid is coming in, guys. We'll hit him with a couple of viewers. Good stuff. Boom. Let's make sure we actually go land here.
Waouh, trop fort le mec. J'aimerais trop me déplacer comme lui. Bon, il y a encore des petites désynchronisations apparemment.
Whoops, I have no idea what he's saying. Whoops.
Captain Deadwake, merci beaucoup pour ton raid. Bienvenue à toi et ceux qui t'accompagnent. J'espère que tu vas bien. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
Oh, I get the vibes.
Playtesting the LC, experienced hauling mission. Oh, let's go. Tout s'est bien passé. Alors, petit test Floyd. Ça ferme et je fais Dour. Bah non, c'est bon, regarde. Ça marche, hein. Pas de soucis.
Still a quick message.
Dans le hangar. Merci encore pour le raid. Thank you for the raid. I don't know if you speak French or not. J'attends que ça se ferme. Bon non, ça va, ça m'a l'air plutôt ok moi de mon côté.
Alright, let's get in here.
Très bien. I don't know, okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Also look real good in 4.1, my pleasure, my friend. Yes, I make some tests yesterday, and yeah, the LC is fucking working.
Very nice. Alright, go.
On n'a toujours pas les nouveaux Argo et le nouveau Drake, toujours pas. Putain, mais pourquoi
Alright,
ils l'ont donné quelques jours, il n'y a plus.
Exit there. There we go. Sorry, guys. I was trying to make sure I didn't crash my ship as we finished up. Yep, it's the French. No, it was really cool. I'm so glad to raid out and have a great time here, man. That was awesome. We completed another mission. So that is, what is that? 7 experience missions with no problems. Well, I say no problems, but we did technically have that slight issue with trying to stack the missions. So keep that in mind for anybody who's jumping back into this. Trying to stack the 2 experience missions was an issue. We had to abandon the load to be able to offload the one, but still, we had some pretty good down and backs here getting this done. That was really cool. And to not have any hiccups with dropping off the big ones and picking them up, I really hope, yeah, that's one we had to abandon because we were doing our double stack there. Super exciting though, man. And as always, it's really great to have you guys in the chat. If this goes live today, if the build goes to live today, I should say, I don't know that I'll live stream that, but I'll definitely be recording some content. I'll be making another video for the channel today, either VHRT cat video or maybe the member grind video. I don't know. Lots of content coming. Really appreciate all the early support. It's been awesome chatting with y'all. And yeah, I think with that, I'm going to bid you guys farewell. You guys have an awesome day.